Of course, go ahead.
All right, NBA scoring's getting out of hand, let's face it. In 1 week, Luka Doncic drops 73, which ties for the fourth most points in one game in NBA history. Then, Karl Anthony Towns drops 62, yet the Timberwolves lose to the mediocre Hornets. And that same week as well, Embiid dropped 70 on the same night as Karl Anthony Towns. But we ain't done. Devin Booker dropped 62. But he also lost to the Pacers. Even people like PJ Washington Jr. are dropping 40 points or more. Even in today's games alone, we had 10 players score 30 points or more. Is this too much? Does the NBA need to add rules to reduce scoring? Or is this a good thing?
I'll tell you, there's just, I think this is a really good thing. It just means teams need to step up their defense. Because right now, if you're letting Luka, Karl Anthony Towns, Embiid, Booker, these are all good names right here. But if you're going to let them drop 73, that is too much. You're clearly showing that the coaching is not there, right? You're not coaching good enough. You're not coaching any defense. You don't need to change any rules. Basketball is all about defense. That's the only way you keep points away. And guess what? They let so many points to Luka Doncic, and I don't know how to say the name properly. I'm gonna need to ask my Serbian friend. But
no, that's fine. That was good.
But yeah. So you just gotta step up the defense, to be honest with you. I mean, 70 points is a lot. And when it's coming from all these legends and like soon to be MVPs, I'm sure one of these guys will get another MVP. Maybe Luka, Booker. That just means you need to do double man. You know, if they're obviously on a hot streak, you need to go in double. See, once a guy hits, all right, he's averaging like 10 points per quarter or something, even more, right? Luka's averaging like 20 points a quarter. You got to do something. That's when you, as a coach, steps in and say, all right, double up on Luka. For Embiid, where I don't remember who they were playing, but was it the? Give me a sec.
Yep.
Win over the San Antonio Spurs. So that's when you command. Maybe you put in two bigger guys to stop Embiid. You had Victor Wembanyama on him. Also, you could always add, depending on the player, add a bigger guy. Luka, if they were played who again? I don't remember.
Luka
had played
73 points versus the Hawks. Very impressive game, but the Hawks got bullied by Luka. Fourth most points in NBA history is pretty absurd.
Yep, but it's coming from a guy that should be a Hall of Famer once he retires because he's proven enough to be a Hall of Famer, right? But back to what I'm saying, that's at this point as a coach, you just have to, go on about your defense. You can't just let him drop 73 unless you're unless you're telling him, all right, break the record, it doesn't work like that. You always got to step in with the defense.
Yeah. And you talk about these guys who are big name younger guys, like you say, these guys are going to be really good for the rest of their careers, potential Hall of Famers. But have you ever heard the name PJ Washington Jr.? I didn't know who the guy was until I did today's research for the episode. He dropped 43. I can't tell if that's a defensive breakdown or one person having really good games. There's been players who have had one-off games, one-off weeks, one-off months. But still, is it the defense doing something wrong or is it him doing something right?
Man, I lost my earbud. Damn it. This is going great, folks. I already lost it. Give me a second.
You see, this...
But I did hear what you're saying. This I think, was just a defensive meltdown. Like you're saying, who the heck is PJ Washington?
No offense to PJ Washington. Hell of a baller. 40 points is
Seriously.
impressive.
Nobody's ever... Man, gosh damn it. Wait, let me finish
the helmets are giving you problems, man.
Yeah. So back to what I was saying. PJ Washington, never heard of him. Never know. I don't think he's a first round at least, but Yeah, he's just
I wouldn't
like.
know.
Let me just search that up. Is PJ Washington Jr. a first rounder? But like overall, dude, that is just awful coming from a. I feel like a bench player. I feel he's like a bench player,
Well,
man.
I don't know him. You don't know him. We don't know how old he is. We don't know where he's drafted from, what round he's in. We don't know anything about this guy. But he still dropped 40 points. And along with that, 10 players, just today's game, 10 players scored 30 or more. Stephen Curry being one of them, LeBron James being another one of them, a whole handful of guys, whole handful of great athletes. But man, oh man, is it a defensive breakdown? Because I'm only talking about 30 points. There's been, I couldn't even count how many 24, 20, 25 plus point games there were. There were probably another 10, 25 plus games.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird one to be honest with you. It just shows that coaches have been trying to work so much on their offense, but they haven't really been trying with the defense. Like I said, defense comes first. And to have like I think if I'm not mistaken, it was 143 points coming from Luca's game. Give me
Mm-hmm.
a sec.
Yeah. Well over,
Cavs.
well over 100 points. Way up high. But
Oh,
even,
definitely.
but even
148. That's crazy.
148.
And then look at this game. The Hawks had 143 and the Mavs had 148. That just shows also the Mavs defense was not there. And
This,
they would just
go ahead.
weren't focusing on at all, dude.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. And I'm looking at some of the scores right now. Milwaukee dropped 141 today to even the Pelicans 117. 117 is not a bad amount of points, but it's still a blowout because it's 141 points. This is what I'm saying. Scoring might be getting out of hand. These points are really starting to rack up. The point the point average for games is higher than it's been. It's
Hmm.
getting absurd with the amount of offense.
Definitely. And like you said, Bucks dropped 141 points. And in the Lakers game, a great rivalry, by the way, Warriors versus Lakers, 144 to 145. Again, there was two OTs in this game, but still, dude, that is a lot of points given up. But like I said, there
Yeah.
was two overtimes, so we'll give him a pass there. Again, LeBron had dropped a very insane game, 20 rebounds, 12 assists, 36 points, another 30-point game. Steph Curry, 46 points. That is just it. You just gotta play defense. You can't play basketball without any defense.
Yeah. And I don't know why there's not enough defense. There's a handful of athletes, a handful of good defenders, but at the same time, it's not. Are the players trying to save their energy for offense? I don't know what reason you would have to not play defense.
Mm. I mean, Owen, you're tall. You're a good basketball player, very good basketball player at best, and your main key is defense, right? With those, I see a 7 foot wingspan, man.
Not there yet, but I got long arms.
Not there yet, but with the kids that you play, you definitely are a better defender than most of them. So, what are your like thoughts on this defensive meltdowns?
Well, thanks for the compliment, but defensively, I feel you have to almost tighten up on the good players. Run a zone defense. Don't let anyone get into the mid range. I've been seeing a lot of mid range shots. I've been seeing a lot of step back threes. And it's becoming way too much. If you just run a zone defense, I get there's bigger guys on some smaller guys and it could not go well. I think that it would work better than what they're trying to play right now.
I don't think zone defense is legal in
It
the NBA.
is. You can
Is it?
you can play whatever defense you want. You
Is
gotta
zone
you gotta kind
defense?
of you gotta kind of you you gotta make your matchups around the perimeter. You can't be playing man to man against some of these better guys. You have to always have a guy on them. And that's why I think that a zone type defense would be generally a bit more effective than what they're doing now. For all I know, this is what they're trying to do. But I'm not sure that it's working as well as it could, you know?
Definitely. But that's the whole thing about it. You know, like you said, if you can't play man, you might as well play zone. That is the most effective way to play defense in basketball.
Mm-hmm.